There's been a lot on the news about people hanging down by the 100 Night Shelter, hanging down the center of Keene, hanging down on Roxbury Street. But, not Roxbury and Railroad. But there's really, if you look at Keene, for all the stuff we talk about Keene, there is no such thing as a community center or a drop-in center or anything for teenagers. What would you propose that the city council or the city do to help provide a service, to help provide an area for people to be people?
Well, as I suggested before, I think the city needs to sell off the 10% of the property that they own here in Keene, with the exception of just a few city department buildings. I think that if there were a resurgence of business in Keene, as we talked about earlier, with lower property taxes, or even better yet, voluntary contributions, then that would encourage more businesses, and it would be likely that some of those businesses would cater to people who have a lot of disposable income. Teenagers, they're not paying rent, so if they've got a job, they've got all kinds of money to spend. I wouldn't propose the city get into any kind of business. I agree with Bob's point earlier. They don't need to be, making fish, and they don't need to be doing anything besides the basic bare minimums of protecting life, liberty, and property. And right now, they're not doing that very well either.
So, business that I worked for used to be in Peterborough. Peterborough acquired a building and tried to turn it into a teen community center with much fanfare. I think the town of Dublin is doing something similar, where they have some kind of community center that they're trying to develop. And I think that the intentions are, positive, but the outcomes are failures. People aren't showing up. But again, this comes back to free market. We have a bowling alley. We used to have a drive-in theater. We have all kinds of activities around here that the kids can do. It's a matter of getting them outside, off the computer or Xbox or whatever the case may be. But I don't think it's up to the city to try and figure out how to keep kids busy. We do have all kinds of free market athletic programs, and so I don't know that that's the problem. Most of the people that I see hanging around the city are either stuffing parking meters and or just smoking cigarettes and at the same time walking around with their strollers. I think that we need to become a more productive, more self-sufficient society, and we need to lower the tax burden to welcome more businesses that will cater to the demands of the market.
Thank you. And Mr. Sutherland, since I'm still not positive if the one question that you asked Ian was a follow-up or an actual question, I will let you ask one more question of Councilor Roberts and Ian Freeman.
Councilor Roberts, you had earlier mentioned that the people are moving out of the city of Keene and into other areas, or other folks are moving to the surrounding towns and benefiting from the school district. This is a school district that the school district created. This is your field of dreams, mister. You guys voted continuously to spend more on a high school, a middle school, whatever the case may be, with the red carpet open to all of these surrounding towns, because that's how the Keene school sees as trying to drive the per student costs down, rather than serving our direct community first, and then addressing the needs of other communities where possible. What is that? How does that translate as far as the way you voted and the way some of your indications of votes on the city council have been, as far as a build it and they will come attitude, or let's focus on the taxpayer and the property owner first, and servicing them as how a city, a proper local government should serve?
Well, first I can say is I didn't vote for the high school, and I didn't vote for the middle school. I was in the Marine Corps when the high school was voted for, and the middle school I was voted off the school board because of cutting the budget. But I tell you what I did when I first came on the school board, I had looked at the numbers, and the numbers projected that by this time we'd have about 900 kids. And when they went to the voters, they told the voters they needed an 1,800 seat high school. And so that's why I worked to get the Winchester kids in to fill the empty spaces. The middle school, they kept building the middle school bigger because they said, well, the state is going to give us 57 cents back on every dollar. So let's get bigger and bigger and bigger. And as a logistician, I'm kind of like Southwest Airlines. Every empty seat is costing us money. And now at the middle school, we're in a situation that we created that we have to fill those seats. And filling those seats are, quote, solving some problems, but the filling those seats are cutting the Keene tax base. And so, again, that's what's happened when the school system is looking at themselves and not paying attention how it affects the whole community. So when you look at Keene, these other communities are sending kids to the Keene school at a fixed rate, but also all these individuals are coming into Keene using the roads and the infrastructure and not paying a single penny tax on it, and that means that people of Keene have to have higher tax rates to cover those costs. A lot of the problems right here are self-inflicted.
Thank you, and I would like to thank everybody that came out on this Saturday afternoon. I would have liked the attendance to have been much larger than it is. And if you have not yet cast a ballot in the straw poll, I would like to ask that you do that now. And once again, I would like to thank the candidates who took time out of their day to show up, and thank you for watching.
We have over 250